we came out of the football game Saturday night, and somebody said to me, can you imagine anything better than the feeling after this Notre Dame game? 4 days later, we've got something even better. In 1817, the University of Michigan was founded in the city of Detroit, just down the street. And in 1837, they left and went to Ann Arbor. Now, under the leadership of Mark Schlissel and the current group of the U of M Board of Regents, Michigan's been finding their way back a little bit at a time. They've done a really nice thing with Kresge at the Marygrove campus. They've got a poverty initiative and a number of others. But as far as a major academic center, we are today welcoming the University of Michigan back home in Detroit for the first time in 180 years. So you're going to hear from the people who made it possible. Stephen Ross, whose vision this was from beginning to end. Dan Gilbert, who has been absolutely instrumental in the last year, and then making sure that this site is the right place to be the entrance to downtown. To Warren Evans, who had the vision to move a jail off this site because he saw the possibility of something better, and because of him, instead of 1,000 prisoners on this site, we're going to have 1,000 graduate students. Thank you to the county executive. And this has been a one-year effort to get the university, the related group, the Bedrock group, and all the players together has been nonstop. But I got to give a special thank you to two members of my team who have been day and night for the last year and have put this together. Please ask Ryan Friedrichs and Serene Abu Shakra stand up and say thank you for making this possible. So what does this mean? You are at an innovation center that's going to have 4 to 5 buildings over 14 acres. The centerpiece is going to be a 190,000 square foot academic center, probably in the range of $300 million, primarily for advanced degrees in high-tech innovation, in mobility, in artificial intelligence, in finance, entrepreneurship. The jobs of the future are going to be trained for right here. This isn't a campus for freshmen. That's not what this is. This is graduate school and senior level activities. And last week, the governor and I were very proud to be with President Roy Wilson, and we're glad to have Kim Trent, the head of the Wayne State Board of Governors here, because this is going to fit in beautifully. Wayne State is creating opportunities for our Detroiters to go to college, and the University of Michigan will be giving alternative graduate programs together. But let's give a hand to Kim Trent and the Wayne State Board for their leadership on this. And so think about what this means in Detroit. At Wayne State, you can get advanced degrees in a lot of programs, but very distinguished programs at their medical school, at their law school, at the Mike Ilitch School of Business. You can go to UAD Mercy and get great programs in law in their school of dentistry. Michigan State University has the osteopathic college here in the city of Detroit. And now, with the University of Michigan offering a range of graduate programs in high-tech innovations, we are going to start to join the great cities in this country like Boston and Chicago that have many universities offering high-level programs, meaning Detroiters are going to have this whole range of options. This is what great cities do. As far as this center, in addition to the academic center, next door we envision a major business center and incubator center. So the startups, from the young people who are learning these latest skills, can start up their businesses right here in the city of Detroit. They don't have to go to Silicon Valley. That startup center will be here, building on what Wayne State has done with the tech center. We expect to see a residential tower, a hotel conference center. This innovation center is going to be something that will be transformational. And I suspect before it's done, the biggest impact's going to be in the area of artificial intelligence and mobility in the creation of the systems that will build the automated vehicles of the future. And we all know the future of the auto industry is being decided right now. It's Detroit versus Silicon Valley. And every year that goes by, cars are more and more computers on wheels. And with what Stephen Ross and the University of Michigan are doing here, Detroit now has a major leg up in that competition to make sure the future of the auto industry comes right here out of the city of Detroit. And so in Detroit, we're deeply appreciative of Fiat Chrysler that's building the first assembly plant north of the Mason-Dixon line the last decade right down the road, to General Motors, who never left and will, I suspect in the near future, be having a major announcement about a vehicle of the future, to Waymo, that is installing the self-driving systems into vehicles right now in the city of Detroit. But we owe an enormous debt of gratitude today to Bill Ford, who made the commitment to locate 5,000 employees and contractors designing the future generations of electric and automated vehicles right here in the city of Detroit. And so I know that Ford is working with U of M on programs right on their Corktown campus. But Bill Ford was the inspiration and created the momentum for this. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for him. And I just want to say today to Bill Ford, thank you for your leadership. Now, our deal isn't completely done. We got some work to do, and we're going to take the next 90 to 180 days in which Stephen Ross and Dan Gilbert and his team and the University of Michigan team will figure out the details on the financing and the programs. County Executive Warren Evans and I will be leading an effort to engage the community to make sure when the University of Michigan comes home, it benefits the entire city of Detroit. And we're going to develop those programs in consultation with a number of community groups, and we'll be back to you with a final plan. And I know when we do, that plan is going to be backed by Detroit's #1 supporter. From making sure the FCA assembly plant was built here, to cutting our car insurance rates, she always has Detroit's back. And while she's proud to be the state of Michigan's #1 Spartan, for today, she's a Michigan Wolverine. Welcome, Governor Gretchen Whitmer.
Well, thank you. I'm seeing my friend Joe Palomero sitting here with a Spartan lapel pin on, pointing at it. I am proud to be a Spartan, but more importantly than that, I am proud to be a Michigander. And I think this is a great testament to some of the phenomenal partnerships that are happening across the state. You know, we've got some issues that we are working to tackle, but every single day, there's a story like this. There is a person, there's something that is happening in a different part of the state that keeps me inspired and motivated to keep our foot on the gas, because there is good stuff happening, and we are all going to continue to work to make sure that that story continues here to unfold in the city of Detroit and in all parts of our state. So let's give a hand for everyone who's taken a big part of this leadership and announcement today. This is an exciting day for the city of Detroit. The Detroit Innovation Center combines the vision, the leadership, and the deep commitment to this city and our state that I am so appreciative of all of the efforts of everyone involved. It's an incredible opportunity for students around the world to get a great education and an opportunity right here in the midst of the city. And it's going to help us attract and build and retain the best workforce in the country right here in Detroit and in the state of Michigan. Now, earlier this year, I announced a statewide goal of ensuring that we close our skills gap. Michigan, the state that boasted the finest skilled workforce on the planet at one point, is now behind where we need to be. And we know that there are tens of thousands of jobs that are going unfilled, and we've got to close this skills gap. I set our goal at 60%. We were the only state in the Midwest that hadn't even set a goal, one of only 9 in the country that hadn't, until I set it at 60%. And it is aggressive, but it is absolutely doable. It is doable when we look at opportunities like the one that we are announcing today. It is doable when we look at vocational villages that give returning citizens skills so they can get in the workforce. It is doable when we make Michigan a welcoming state so that people from around the world make their lives here in Michigan. When we live our values and create paths for everyone, our whole state benefits, our economy benefits, our standard of living goes up. And that's why I'm very pleased to be here. When they asked me to come, I said, well, the state doesn't really have a role in this yet. And they said, the state absolutely has a role, because this is going to be in all of our benefit when this project happens. So I am encouraged and excited about the work that is happening here. I am grateful for the partnerships that are being announced and fostered here. And I know that when we keep our foot on the gas and stay focused on the things that really matter, we are going to improve lives for everyone in this state. So thank you, and this is a great day to be in the city of Detroit. Thanks.
And now I get the privilege to honor the man who, along with Dan Gilbert, was the driving force from the beginning. And if you don't know Stephen Ross's story, he's a Detroiter. Stephen was born here, went to high school at Mumford, got his undergraduate degree at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, got his law degree at Wayne State in the city of Detroit, and started out in an accounting firm in downtown Detroit. And then he went off to New York and became arguably the most successful developer of real estate in America, with iconic projects like the Time Warner Center and the Hudson Yards in Manhattan that, if you haven't seen it, is absolutely breathtaking. He now has $15 billion in development projects around the world. So at Ryan Friedrich's suggestion 4 years ago, I flew out to New York and sat down with Stephen. I think, you know, you do all this stuff around the world, it's time to come home. And he says, Mike, you got to be realistic about investment climate. And so he gave me a lecture about investment climate. This is the way my life went. But I wasn't discouraged. So 3 years ago, I went out to New York. I saw him again. And said, Stephen, you got to think about coming home. He says, you know, that investment environment in Detroit, it's coming back. He says, I'm going to seriously start to look. And I said, well, good. So 2 years ago, I flew out. I said, Stephen, it's time. He says, I'm going to do something. I said, great, whatever it is, your reputation will be great. He says, no, I'm not just going to do a project. He says, I promise you I'm looking around, but I'm not going to do something until I have something really big. And I thought, oh, God, this guy's putting me off again. A year ago, I was getting ready to go see him again. And the phone rings, and it's Stephen Ross. He says, Mike, I got an idea, and it's really big. And when he laid out for me the vision of building this kind of a center to provide these kinds of educational and career choices for Detroiters growing up here, right in their own city, it's an institution so prestigious it could help attract businesses from around the country, particularly in the auto tech field, to locate here, I was just in awe. And it's been a long, hard year to get here. And while it took the University of Michigan 180 years to come home, it took Stephen Ross 50 years, but it was worth the wait because he's going to help transform this city. Please say welcome home to Stephen Ross.
Well, thank you. And this really wouldn't be possible without the leadership that Michigan has today. And I know working with the mayor, as he's told you, he's encouraged me many times, and many of my friends have asked me to, coming back to Detroit, to do something. And I always kind of said, well, not now, but I think now is the right time in Detroit. And I think the leadership, with the governor today and President Schlissel, working with them and coming up with these ideas that I think can really lead to the really great rebirth of Detroit, to make it the really great city I know it was when I grew up here I was born in 1940, so I lived through some of the great years in Detroit. But what's really important to me being here, I know that before I went to New York, I had a conversation with my late uncle, who was very instrumental and really a great lover of Detroit, Max Fisher. And I told him, I asked him what he thought about me going to New York, because I really loved Detroit, but I was single and it had a lot of other attractions moving to New York. I thought they'd be, and he said, well, if you go there, you'll never come back. And I made a promise to him. I said, I promise you I will come back. Now, it took me 50 years to come back, but I've lived up to that promise, and I really think that the Detroit that he envisioned, the Detroit that we all, those of us who grew up here, saw and loved and how important of a city it was to America, I think it will be again. And I was educated. I'm now ready to come back and use what I've learned to really participate in that. And Detroit now is really the right time in Detroit to do something really impactful, because Detroit, with the leadership it has, is doing things and encouraging people to come here and people wanting to come here, where the other cities are really creating kind of reasons why business shouldn't be there. And as I've talked to leaders around the country and telling them my ideas, I think one thing that you probably haven't heard yet is that it's an attraction for all industries. And I think who are going to come to Detroit, it's not going to be confined to the auto industry itself. I mean, today, life is about technology and how it really pervades every single industry and how important it is. And creating this type of university. I was asked to be on the board of Cornell Tech in New York, which is a new university that Cornell set up in New York City, and to deal with technology, engineering, computer science, business, law, all in one school, and seeing the impact that has on a city. And I think, we talk about the University of Michigan being here, but the beneficiary is really all of Detroit. It will have an impact throughout all the neighborhoods in Detroit and bringing jobs that people never thought would be coming back to Detroit. And so I'm really excited to be able to participate and work and bring something to Detroit. I know it's going to be one of the toughest challenges, but I love it. I love the challenge. And I think that, bringing all my experiences here, we can really make Detroit what we all dream of what it should be. And so it's really thrilling to be part of that. But you really can't do it without the great leadership. And I think that's what Detroit has. That what makes Detroit unique in this country. And I think that, and working with Dan Gilbert, I just wish Dan was able to be with us today. But I think that you'll see what happens through the years. As I've talked to corporations, we'll be making announcements, and I think it'll surprise a lot of you. So thank you, and thank everybody here, and it's going to be a great ride. And I'd like to introduce Matt Cullen, who is on behalf of Bedrock and Dan Gilbert. Matt.
Thanks, Stephen. Good morning, everybody. It's another great day in Detroit. It's nice to have a tent today. The last University of Michigan event I was at got a little damp last Saturday, so it's good to have a nice tent with us today. I'm really proud to be here today representing Dan Gilbert, certainly my colleagues at Bedrock Detroit, as well as the Rock family of companies. As a proud University of Michigan alum, it's kind of a blue letter day for me personally as we embark on creating this great Detroit Center for Innovation in the heart of the city. There's a lot of work to do over the next several months for sure, but with the leadership we have up here on the stage, with people in front of me, I'm confident we're going to get there. And while I'm very appreciative of the role that everybody's going to play, I want to take just a minute to acknowledge two men in particular for their vision and generosity that are going to be so key to this project. The first is Stephen Rawson, and certainly the mayor already acknowledged him, but he's not only a very successful business guy, but a tremendous supporter of the University of Michigan and a Detroit kid that never forgot where he came from. When he approached us with this incredible vision, Center for Innovation, located in the center of Detroit, anchored by the University of Michigan, it took Dan about 15 seconds to say we were all in as an organization. And as Stephen has noted, he intends to provide significant financial support for the initiative as well to see the project through to fruition. So it's that combination of vision and generosity that makes him the man that he is. And certainly on behalf of Dan Gilbert, myself, and the Bedrock team, I'd just like to let Stephen know how much we appreciate him, how much we look forward to working with him. Another round of applause because of Stephen. The second person that I want to acknowledge, and certainly we wish was here as well, is Dan Gilbert. A little bit of a funny story. Shortly after I joined Dan about 10 years ago, he called me in his office to tell me what a terrible idea it was to build a jail on this very site, a site that he viewed as the gateway to a resurgent city of Detroit. Now, remember, this is 10 years ago, so I kind of politely agreed with him. I was still new. And it pointed out that at that moment in time that we were sitting in the Quicken Loan headquarters in the city of Livonia, we're still trying to figure out if and when we could make it back to the city of Detroit. Detroit wasn't exactly resurgent at the time, and the new jail on Gratiot was already a done deal. So kind of like, what in the hell were we wasting time talking about the Gratiot site for? But if you fast forward 10 years and you see that Dan's vision and certainly his perseverance has proved correct. In 2018, we were able to negotiate a contract with Wayne County Executive Warren Evans to build the county a new criminal justice center just a few miles north of here, and to make this site available for something special. We didn't know what that was, but Dan knew that it'd be something special. And I think it's because of Dan's vision and a commitment to our community that today we are standing on the future site of the Detroit Center for Innovation. And so that's a real credit to Dan. This center is going to help create a connected and technology-fueled future for Detroit. It's not only going to be a beautiful gateway to the city, but it's really going to be a physical hub connecting the Detroit CBD, our vibrant sports and entertainment district, Eastern Market, Lafayette Park, our historic Greektown district, which is in the midst of its own reimagining. As a real estate guy at heart, that certainly is an attractive vision for me, but this is a lot bigger than a real estate play. The center is going to attract and develop top talent from across the nation and build on the existing pipeline of talent from other higher education institutions in and around the city of Detroit. And certainly the need for that pipeline is right now. Our Rock family of companies is comprised of over 100 companies, primarily focused on technology and entrepreneurship. We now have more than 17,000 team members in the city of Detroit, and we're looking to bring thousands more into our company. So we certainly understand the need for talent and innovation. And as the mayor said, we're not alone. Tech giants like Microsoft, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Twitter, Amazon, Google, Waymo have set up shop in the city, and they're all looking for talent and the next big idea. So as they expand, as our hometown companies expand, and we continue to attract more and more of the world's leading tech companies to the city, it's really vital that we have a pool of trained young talent. The fact that this center, powered by the nation's leading research institution, we located in Detroit, the Midwest's fastest growing startup hub, represents an incredible opportunity for our community. And we need to make certain that the opportunity is not just for those that will study or work on this site. One of Dan's top goals since we moved into the city has been to help develop multiple paths to great careers for Detroit residents. Whether a person wants to work in the service industry, learn a skilled trade, launch a business, or join the nation's growing technology economy, opportunity must be ample for all. Certainly, that's why we're going to continue to partner with the mayor, the Wayne County Executive, and Detroit Public Schools to support Detroit youth and adult students with the training, resources, and mentorship they need to be successful in high-growth, high-demand industries like IT, customer service, and skilled trades. The success of this project will ultimately be determined not just by the graduate students that create the new economy jobs, but by the positive impact on those that live and work in the city of Detroit. The launch of the Detroit Center for Innovation is the next frontier in Detroit's evolution. We're reestablishing our leadership in technology and innovation. On behalf of Dan and myself and Bedrock, we're proud to be a part of this transformative project and could not imagine a better group of partners to move forward with. Speaking of great partners, it's now my honor to introduce the president of the University of Michigan, Mark Schlissel, who has worked hard to ensure that the University of Michigan is more than an institution with a rich legacy, but also an institution that pushes the boundaries for the future. Mark?
Good morning, everybody, and thanks, Matt, for your kind introduction. As a great public research university, the University of Michigan has a responsibility to focus our academic strength on the challenges and opportunities that face the public we serve. For an institution that's been driving growth and opportunity in our state for more than 200 years, there is no more impactful place to do this than in Detroit, the city of our birth, Wayne County, and the surrounding region. The Detroit Center for Innovation is the latest component in a thriving ecosystem of U of M engagement with the city and its people. We're proud to partner with everyone here today to do what we do best as a world-class public research university. We'll provide modern, highly relevant educational opportunities that leverage our excellence across many disciplines. We'll create a pipeline of talent and a platform for research collaboration to help grow and attract businesses and entrepreneurial activity. We'll position the region's future workforce for success in a dynamic and diversified economy. Faculty from Ann Arbor, Dearborn, and Flint will develop the center's academic programs and work with local businesses and community to ensure that we're meeting the region's most pressing needs. We'll look for ways to partner with local institutions such as Wayne State as well. The project is further evidence of Detroit's growth as a place of strength and influence, a place where public and private partners unite, a place where the upward trajectory is driven by an arc of innovation that includes forward mobility at Corktown and entrepreneurship at Techtown. A year ago, I stood on the Marygrove campus as we announced a new partnership with the Detroit Public Schools Community District, the Kresge Foundation, and other local leaders. Together at Marygrove, we're training K-12 teachers and providing an outstanding primary and secondary education to young students right here in the city. Today, as we launch the Detroit Center for Innovation, I want to thank all of our great partners and supporters from the businesses and philanthropic communities and all our faculty, staff, and students at the university. Their longstanding commitment to the city and region has advanced the highest values of our public mission. It's now my honor to introduce Denise Illich, Vice Chair of the University of Michigan Board of Regents. Denise is a proud U of M graduate and a longtime business leader in Detroit. She's endowed scholarships and supported the university for many years. Please welcome Regent Denise Illich.
Thank you, Mark. I just want to thank all of you. As I look out into the room, I see so many friends of Detroit and friends of the University of Michigan. Thank you so much for your support. And I just want to thank Mayor Duggan for your vision. And Stephen Ross has been such an amazing supporter of the University of Michigan. And, you know, I've seen people who are blessed with a lot of resources and don't always share. And he's probably the best sharer I've ever come in contact with. So thank you so much for that. And to Dan Gilbert, who's so unfortunate that he's not here, but was so excited when they made the presentation to the Regents. He was just brimming with enthusiasm and excitement. So on behalf of the University of Michigan Board of Regents, I'm proud to join all of you in this historic announcement. Joining us today are Regents Jordan Acker, Paul Brown, Shauna Ryder-Diggs, and our chair, Ron Weiser, who are also so excited and brimming with enthusiasm. My board colleagues and I are honored to lead and support a project that upholds the University of Michigan's public mission and advances economic growth in this region. As a native Detroiter, I'm thrilled to know that the leaders in our city and beyond are taking action to maintain its rightful place in the future global economy. I consider the Detroit Center for Innovation the latest example of the University of Michigan's great partnership with the state, its businesses, and the people we serve. As Mayor Duggan mentioned, this partnership was born in Detroit in 1817, a half a mile from here at the corner of Bates and Congress. And since that day, more than 2 centuries ago, the University of Michigan has led the nation in teaching, in research, and in service. We've delivered ever-increasing levels of excellence, providing opportunity and innovation to the city, to the region, the state, and beyond. So today, we begin a new chapter in this great partnership by helping this region be competitive and open for business with the Detroit Center for Innovation. I'm very pleased to introduce our next speaker, Wayne County Executive Warren Evans. Under his leadership, the county has thrived as a community of strength and vibrancy. Our team looks forward to working very closely with him and the community to create a great project for all of Detroit. We would not be here without his support. So please welcome County Executive Warren Evans, and go Blue!
Well, first of all, good morning, and as a Spartan who loves the University of Michigan, At least there are two of us, Governor. No, really glad to be here. And by the way, I don't know if you all appreciate this tent the way I do, but this is far better than my first apartment ever was. No one's really happier to be standing here than me. I want to thank Stephen Ross, President Schlissel, Dan Gilbert, and Mayor Duggan for their work on this project. This announcement probably is the best way to describe symbolically the situation that the city of Detroit and the county of Wayne had just a few years ago, where it is now, and where it will logically go in the future. And I think this project is going to be a great one. Here we are on the once infamous failed jail site, a development that was designed to lock up members of our community. Today, that half-built jail has been demolished at no expense to the taxpayers, and we're ready to announce a major development that will unleash the potential we have in ourselves and for the future. I clearly remember speaking to Dan Gilbert about this site. We talked about all the possibilities that were out there at the time, and that anything would have beaten a jail on that site. But certainly the idea that in our discussions with our teams that the potential for something like this, while not concrete at the time, was certainly I think, gelling in our minds that this site could do something significantly better. And it was always a part of the equation. Even when we did the jail deal to move the jail elsewhere, there was always a vision that something really good could happen here. While we already know the decision we made back then was the best decision for the residents of Wayne County, today we solidify that decision with this announcement. But I want everyone to know that we're not done. I am as excited as anyone for this school, and there's no doubt that when we put up the big block M, it's going to attract the best and the brightest from all around the world. I hope that talent comes here, lives here, works here, and becomes an intricate part of our community and helps us stay competitive to attract business and investment from everywhere for a better life. I think we all are going to find out just how talented our community really is, and find out what the people of Detroit and Wayne County have to offer. Talent exists everywhere, but opportunity does not. For folks in our community to be able to see the Block M day in and day out will inspire them to want to be a part of the university. But this inspiration must be connected to a reality. We all know that there are talented folks who, through no fault of their own, will need help to get on a level playing field to be a part of this world, the world created by this project. I intend to do what I can to help, and I know you will too. We need to be sure that children throughout the county and the city have a viable path to this institution, and that this institution is as inclusive as possible. To that end, I know the work is not done. I look forward to working with folks behind me over the next 90 to 180 days to complete this deal in terms of that connectivity. And I want to thank everyone, not only for their hard work on this project, but for their keen vision. Thank you very much, and I'd like to introduce my boss, County Commission Chairperson, Alicia Bell. And by the way, when all of the other county commissioners sit right in front of me, it's kind of like being before a jury, if you know what I mean.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good morning. And before we go any further, I'd like to acknowledge my colleagues on the Wayne County Commission, Vice Chair Joey Palomera, Commissioner Al Haydes, Commissioner Monique Baker McCormick, Commissioner Sam Baydoun, and Commissioner Glenn Anderson. Thank you, colleagues, for being here today. Let's give them a round of applause. And who couldn't be with us today is Commissioner Jewel Ware, Vice Chair Pro Tem. This is her district, so I know she would want me to let everyone know that this is her district, and she is so proud to represent this area. 2011, I stood here with some of you as we broke ground on the failed jail. We did not know at the time that it would become such, but as the scripture says, lean not into your own understanding. Things happen for a reason. And now we have, just a mile and a half down the road, a state-of-the-art criminal justice complex, not just a jail. And this site, where the failed jail stood or would stand, is now going to be an opportunity for residents in Detroit, Wayne County, and abroad at the Detroit Innovation Center. So I don't think we thought of that at the time, obviously, but as we say, things happen for a reason. And this was a wonderful blessing to have this opportunity bestowed us today. I am so happy that Mr. Ross, President Schitzel, and the Rock Ventures had the vision to have a location right here at the gateway of Detroit as a wonderful educational institution. And a quick sidebar, I'm a proud graduate of Florida A&M University, HBCUs, but for some reason, my 11-year-old daughter has already told me she wants to go to U of M. So I have some work to do. But she couldn't have chose another institution as great as Florida A&M to want to aspire to attend. But this is going to be a wonderful institution, and the Wayne County Commission is looking forward to the opportunity to work with all of the partners to make this vision a reality. And I'd like to now bring to the podium our Councilwoman, Janae Ayers.
So confession, I went to school in Ohio, but like a true Detroiter and Michigander, I always repped D and I always hailed to the victors, especially every day I had to spend in Ohio. So I just had to get that out the way. But I stand in front of you today as an at-large council member, meaning that the entire city is my district. And I am so proud to be here with you all as change agents, because that's essentially what they're doing. This site was supposed to be a jail. And instead of us pushing that vision and pushing that narrative to Detroiters, we're pushing the educational vision. And I think that we need to not let that be lost on us, that instead of pushing that vision, we're pushing opportunity, we're pushing innovation, we're changing the narrative. And so I think you all should give them another round of applause for being those change agents that we need to see. I'm a firm believer that if we were to do more things like this across the country, instead of building more correctional facilities, we would have a completely different wave of people. We'd have a completely different wave of hope. And so that's what I'm looking forward to seeing in the city. I take this as a personal challenge to make sure that I am pushing all of our DPSCD students, our babies, our community, just so that they see this is what you have in your community. You have an opportunity. You don't have to leave. You have it right here at your fingertips, and it's because of a great public-private partnership. So on behalf of my colleagues that I don't think they're here, because we do have committee happening right now, I'd like to thank you all, and again, let's push the vision of hope and opportunity. Thank you. Oh. See? This is why you don't change up to run a show on me, because I forget what I'm supposed to do. Speaking of change agents, I get to introduce to you one of the most remarkable ladies that I've had a pleasure of working with, Ms. Carla Walker-Miller.
Good morning. I'm so honored to be here to represent the rich diversity of Detroit entrepreneurship. We all know what the vision of Detroit entrepreneurship is, right? Young white guys running around on scooters. But a shout out to Black women, one of the fastest growing groups of entrepreneurs in the country right now. So this is just another indication that Detroit is back in business, but the good news is it's not business as usual. Two things about entrepreneurship, two things, period. One is that entrepreneurship is so hard. Entrepreneurs need help, need support, need guidance, and we need money. The second thing is that Detroit is different. That means that this is going to be a different place. It's going to be an incredible place. Because entrepreneurs, we don't just build businesses. We build communities, we build lives, we build futures. And I celebrate because as this Innovation Center beckons people from across the globe, the people who are right here, the people I like to call legacy Detroiters, Detroiters that never left, the people that stayed in the struggle and fought every day get to benefit from the Innovation Center. That's why I'm celebrating. I want to thank everyone who had a part of this. I celebrate the opportunity as a member of the board of TechTown, the oldest incubator in the city, for all entrepreneurs to thrive. And when I say all entrepreneurs, I mean all. I mean the startups who get a lot of love. I mean the been-ups who don't need as much love. And I mean the backups who made it through the recession. And I'm happy to say that I'm one of those. Eventually, we are going to move past the discussions and the conversations about the revitalization of Detroit and the people who didn't participate. With moves like this, because this is a major, major move, with moves like this, we are going to be talking not about the revitalization of Detroit, but the true elevation of Detroit, bringing Detroit to where it once was and where it always should have been and where it will be in the future. Thank you all so much.
And we have one last speaker. Some of you may remember a few years ago when my friend Jimmy Settles, as I was speaking at a UAW center, a bunch of kids playing chess, said to me, "Hey, Mike, you were a serious chess player, weren't you?" I said, "Sure." He says, "After you're done with your speech, why don't you play one of these kids? It'll be good to kind of boost their morale." And so I came over, and there was this little 8-year-old girl. And Jimmy somehow lined up TV cameras to catch this, and a whole bunch of older chess players. And I said, okay, they got me play the little girl. I'm going to take it easy on her. 4 moves in, she took my bishop. The kids around whooped and yelled, and her eyes never left the board. And I thought, oh my God, she's thinking 2 and 3 moves ahead. You don't get many adults can do that. This kid is 8 years old. And so I was in awe then. She then went on to win a national chess championship in Dallas as an elementary school. She's on her way to becoming the first African-American female international chess master. Just came back from World Championships in India. She is a freshman at Cass Tech, a product of the city of Detroit, and I hope one day to see her walk through the doors at this Innovation Center. This is the talent of the future. Please welcome Sharice Woods.
Oh, you guys are so cool. Good morning. Hi. Thank you all for having me here. It's really nice to be here, actually. You guys are really cool. When I was in 3rd grade, I didn't really think that I would get this far. Like, I never knew that one day I'd be, like, traveling the world for chess. Like, it seems kind of bizarre when you think about it. And, like, even though I travel a lot, wherever I go, I like to take Detroit with me because I love being here. It's great. It's my hometown. I've grown up here. And it really means a lot to have all of you behind me. Even that standing ovation, that was really cool. And being able to represent Detroit in the World Championships is really great, but it's nice to know that Detroit really cares about the youth, and I know I'm one of them. And it's cool that I'm representing their opinions right now, that it's really cool to have a local world-class education here in Detroit, and it's really cool to see that. And I like that Detroit is open to seeing our generation succeed instead of face punishment for not doing the right thing. They're expecting them to be graduates rather than prisoners. It's great. And yeah, this new building really represents like it's growth for our generation. It's really nice to see. And on behalf of all of my fellow students, we thank you. One more thing, I just want to end on a quote. Remember to smile today. It's contagious and it looks good on you.
And there is the talent that we are building this institution for. It exists throughout this city and just needs the opportunity to thrive. And so as we close this out, we'll be available for a media scrum afterwards to ask questions. One last thought is I am very much looking forward to the day that the man who has made so much of this possible is with us physically, and I am confident it won't be before too long. But Dan Gilbert, the thoughts and prayers of Detroit are with you. Come back soon, and everybody have a great day.